moment, and the situation just not good. Let's quickly take this live.
Orlando West. There is some say be married like I do la mole until abankiwe. Busigo, o sna electric. So la utlwa go bohloko jwa bana ba batho ba bolaiwa ha bohloko. O hudisa ngwana o mo hudisetsa motho o mo. O hudisetsa ngwana Satane a bapale ka batho. Satane o bapala ka batho. Mare ke rata hore modimo o tla mo arabela ka tsatsi le leng. Modimo o thusa everybody. And how feel about
between taxi operators and
is so angry at what happened here.
Community is angry kalibaka la hore batho ba modimo ba shwele mole and re khathetse ke ntho e tsala mo Maponya always le management ya Maponya one re bua le yona re kena mo le re buisana le ene he re laitele le mabone a mo ntemo highlight ore ditsotsi ha di kena ka mo di balela teng ke tsa hae rona ba mophakate re se ra bua mara ha ba utswa ditroli ra ba thusa ha o no lutiwa ke batho ba community ine ba thusa today bana ba batho ba shwa ha bohloko nahana ngwana motho a tlo reka grocer ha o ba fela o sabile a bolaiwa e bohloko ntho eo ha o monate ebile le maponesa ke lla le ka ona hona jwanong maponesa a qeta o hula ngwana batho mo skontiring ka le baka la hore fela a lahlela majomo a rastrat a ke re batho ba kwatile ba utlwile bohloko ka bana ba batho ba tlhokofetseng ba nkilweng ba ileng spetlele bona re tla mo re tlo bona ka le baka nna ke tlile mo le ka le baka la hore ke na le ngwana o drivang so ho bohloko ha o le motswadi ngwana a so kene mo ntlo wena motswadi ntshontsho o feel wa ifila pain ya motho ole e bohloko hampe.
Mama. Well, Oliver, just one of the residents here, is the woman we spoke to earlier, who said that she's quite frustrated at this point because she also alleges that they've always been talking to the management of this particular mall. I'm going to try and speak to someone else, if you could just join us and just his sentiments around what happened here and why the community is so upset.
Okay, so around 7 p.m., there's 2 Uber vehicles that were here to pick up and drop off at the mall. And suddenly they came, guys with guns and started opening fire. And one driver died on the scene inside the car and was set alight in the car. And the other driver was shot and was rushed quickly to hospital. But there's another... There's also civilians, 2 civilians that were, caught in the crossfire and were also rushed into the hospital. And the reason why community members are this, devastated about the incident is that this is the second time such a thing happens at Maponya Mall, and there's been, almost no accountability from the side of the management of the mall. The management has always been quiet about this issue, and instead of resolving it, they decided that Ubers are not going to be allowed to enter and pick up or drop off people. Instead, they will do that by the gate. But people must be allowed, in any trade to choose what they want. There must not be any manipulation of trade in the
e-hailing drivers. MISSIT described the attack as senseless, unacceptable, and a direct threat to the safety and stability of our public transport system. The MISSIT says no grievance or commercial dispute justifies the taking of a life or putting innocent people at risk. Violence of this nature undermines public safety, tarnishes the image of the transport sector, and cannot be tolerated under any circumstances. The MISSIT has called on law enforcement agencies to prioritize the investigation and ensure that those responsible are brought to book. She further urged both taxi associations and e-hailing operators to resolve disputes through peaceful dialogue facilitated by the Gauteng Department of Roads and Transport. The MISSIT sends her deepest condolences to the families and friends of the deceased and wishes those injured a speedy recovery. And for an update on this developing story, we're now joined by SABC News reporter Lopang Alamu, who is on the ground at Maponya Mall. Lopang, when we spoke earlier, you had gotten a eyewitness account, so to speak, from one of the community members who had feared that the e-hailing driver may have been her daughter, who is also an e-hailing driver. And we know that community members had now shown up to demonstrate their discontent. What's the latest that you have from the community and potential eyewitnesses?
Oliver, I'm going to move out of scene and just try and get these visuals for you with my colleague Tulo Munara. You'd also notice there are these cars that were burnt down. At this point, no certainty as to who started this arson attack. Could it have been the taxi operators, or was it angry community members? We still need clarity on that. But from what we understand from the community side, these cars, you'll notice two cars that were torched by these taxi operators, and we're not yet certain how many people have lost their lives who were inside that particular car. We're going to move out of here. You'd notice that the forensic pathologists as well as the LRC personnel are on site now to take photographs and just follow protocol in where a crime scene has just taken place. We're moving out of that part of the crime scene to give you visuals of what is currently happening at the moment. You'd notice as well there are quite a few police personnel, law enforcement officers who are on the scene. You'd notice quite a heavy police presence actually, and this is because the community members were up in arms over the lack of safety, so to say. That is what they say. You'd notice quite a few groups gathered here to try and find out what happened, who lost a loved one. And when we arrived here earlier, actually, we spoke to a gentleman who says that he knew one of these people who were attacked in this particular scene, and we're yet to find out what the relationship was. We're going to try and move over to the community members who are going to give us an update as to what they saw, what normally happens here. And word is they are unable to get access to what they call a more convenient way of moving around, which is just these e-hailing services. Now your Ubers, your Bolts, your in-drives, from what we understand, are very scared to come and do pickups here. So now the residents are forced to use these taxis that are parked outside. So we're going to try and speak to a community member here. Let's just find someone who's able to express themselves and who's able to actually talk. Mama, thank you so much for your time once more. If you could just explain to us why the community